Yeah, but see, from my angle, the light ain't hit the chronic like I was supposed to.
Right. So that brings us to you being the doctor's advocate.
Yeah.
You know, and your work with Dre. He's so instrumental, you know, in your career. What's your guys' relationship like today?
Shit, after my last interview, it's probably like paper shredded. But that doesn't bother me. Because I've always stood on my own. I've always been the bad seed. I've always been my own man. And so Dre, although instrumental as he was to the introduction of my career, to the naked eye or to someone on the outside who is not me, like nobody can tell me what my relationship is with Dre. Only Dre can tell you, and only I can only I can tell you. And 9 out of 10 times, he's not gonna speak on it. You know what I'm saying? But me, I've always been an open book. So yeah, even though Dr. Dre signed me, and this is not to take away from anything that Dr. Dre is, because I told you my favorite album is The Chronic. My favorite rap group is NWA. So it's like, I'm never shooting shots at Dre, I'm only telling my story.
Right.
And my bad if you're in it, but you're in it. Right. So it's like with Dre, you know, yeah, Dr. Dre signed me to Aftermath, but he wasn't pressed to put my album out. That was 50 coming in and really, you know, like, yeah, like he dope as fuck. Like, you know, like I want him in G Unit. And Jimmy Iovine thought that was a good idea too. So they put me in G Unit, but I did not want to be in G Unit. So that's why I'm not on a G Unit album, or you didn't see me on my career with the group when you saw the group. Right. I was just that kind of unofficial member. But me and 50 worked so good together that the hits were the hits. Like Dre didn't do any beats on the documentary.
He definitely oversaw the hell out of it.
You want Dre to oversee anything because he's a mastermind when it comes to that. But as far as like doing a beat for the documentary, like no. And I've never had a Dre beat in my career.
Wow.
And again, with all the influence and all the appreciation that I have, you know, for Dr. Dre, the fact is the fact. So, you know, a bunch of dope producers that Dre had under him, or whoever, you know, Scott Storch, the Just Blazes, the Swiss Beats, the Timberlands, helped me put together my classic album.
Right.
And I physically had to get on a plane and come to Baseline to work with you and get these things done. I did the same thing with Storch. I did the same thing with Swizz. I went to Miami and worked with Timberland, so I can't give Dre credit for the Just Blaze beat.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's a Dr. Dre executive produced album, but people just don't understand the underlinings and how the business works. And it's like, I've never had a song with Dre on it and Dre been in my video. He got, Snoop has a ton, M has a ton. I don't have none. So I'm saying, when I say that Ye did more for me than Dre, it's like me and Ye did Dreams. We did Wouldn't Get Far. Ye was in the video. We just did Easy. That is current and on and Billboard charted. So it wasn't a slap in the face. It was just me telling the truth. That again, man, because there's somebody out there, I need to hear that.
Perception is everything.
Absolutely.
But the reason why I say that is because on my end, like how you said that you felt like Dre wasn't pressed to put out your album, on my end, that's all he ever called me about.
Right.
And when we'd be in the studio, like he would literally sit there and play the album over and over. You know how he is. He'll listen to a song 20 times over.
That's a different time.
Right.
That's at a different time on that timeline.
Right.
That's when the album is done.
It's done,
because after I went to Connecticut and I did, me and 50 did Hater to Love It, and we did Hater to Love It, and then 50 jumped on the West Side Story hook. I had Snoop on there at first, you know what I'm saying? And then 50 jumped on the West Side Story hook, and we did Hater to Love It, and we brought those songs back. Dre was inclined to put the album out because now for whatever reason, it had, you know, value to him. Right. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, he played Hater to Love It on a yacht with Hov and B, and Hov was like, this needs to come out. And then Dre came back and was even more, you know what I'm saying, inclined to put the album out. So yeah, I'm not saying what you're not saying is true. You know,
that's why I said perception is everything.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, so at that point, yeah, he was. But I was in this story sitting on the shelf
Right.
with Brooklyn and Joe Beast.
I was there for all of that.
Of course, I'm saying that this is Dr. Dre's fault, but what I'm saying is, artists be sitting on shelf and sitting on, the Detox is an album that has been worked on and been getting worked on for years and 30 years or something like that, and never came out. So things get shelved when it's a priority. But what I didn't know at that time was it's a business. It wasn't my time yet, or for whatever reason, but that doesn't mean that the shit didn't hurt. I wanted to come out. I knew who I was. I knew I was great. I told Puffy that. I told Suge that. I ended up in Dre's camp, and I told Dre that. And look at me. It's my baby on the cover. That's my voice on the album. I shot niggas to get to that point. Niggas shot at me to get to that point. I joined the gang and got my face bloodied up and stomped out by niggas to tell that story. The documentary was a story about whose life? My life. Right. So it doesn't matter if I signed to Dr. Dre. Aftermath wasn't the reason that I was successful. It's just the reason I was successful. You understand? Because if I would have signed to Caddy Records, the fire in my heart, the fire burning in my heart was going to see that I was one of hip-hop's elite, regardless of who I signed with. And that's why I got signed. Isn't that why you sign niggas? Because you think that they're going to be the next whatever you think they're going to be. Right. You know what I'm saying? Somebody signed Lil Durk, somebody signed Lil Baby. But when they signed Lil Durk and Lil Baby, they didn't know, they just thought. Because you just don't know until it happens, right? But it didn't matter if it was gonna be on Aftermath or Bad Boy or Death Row or Independent. I was gonna be the game at this magnitude no matter what, because I knew that I was. And I was gonna push it because I'm out here moving for me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So one of the things we always come back to when we're designing these shoes is, kind of one of our unofficial slogans is, we stand on our foundation, right? So every episode we try to come up with a very fresh insole that represents something that's part of your family.